Okay, here are my audience members, and here you go, sir. Hi, hello guys. My name is Abraham, and I will be presenting today on the law of the offside trap in soccer. So imagine that you're watching a football match, right? And it's the Super Bowl, the last couple minutes of the game, right? It comes down to the line. They're 50-50, perfectly even. And your favorite team scores the perfect touchdown, a Hail Mary all the way across 50 yards in the end zone, right? But turns out the ref blows his whistle. And actually, the whole play is called back. He got the perfect touchdown and it didn't count. That would have been the game-winning score. But the problem was they threw a flag because a player was outside position. Now, if you transition that into soccer, that's kind of how the offside position works. You could score the game-winning goal in any World Cup tournament, the match of the century. But if you're even a toenail or even a finger outside the line, then you're done for. And that's why today I will be talking about the offside trap and how is it a high-risk, high-reward employment tactic in football. And actually, we will be touching on the mechanics, the execution, the risk versus reward, and the FIFA law, which is actually a technique I employ weekly. And actually, they call me one of the best center backs in my team because I so perfectly know how to execute it. In any position that you play, in any sport that you play, your position is highly important. It is highly key where you stand on the field. Now, to touch on the first body, the mechanics of the FIFA Law 11, according to B. Moore 2023, Art of FIFA Law Explained, the offside trap is a highly effective route in which, pretend these two cones are the defensive line, right? You're on my team, I'm beyond the last man standing, and you're on that side. So you kick the ball to me. But there's a term, I don't know if you guys know what it's called, cherry picking. Imagine if the opposing team, he could just stand by the enemy goalie the whole game and just be like, hey, give me the ball. I'll just tap the ball right in. That's kind of how the offside trap works against that. Because many players, if they could, they would always have a teammate right next to the enemy goalie and just kick the ball in. Give me the ball, kick the ball in. That's called cherry picking. That's one of the things with offsides. If you give me the ball and I'm behind the last defender of the opposing team, that is an offside trap violation. And because of that, the ball has to turn over. I get called a foul. The whistle blows. It doesn't matter if I scored the goal of a lifetime. So now the enemy team has the ball into a free kick. And then for execution, it requires a lot of teamwork. It requires for the team captain to be on top of it and make excellent callouts. So as you guys see, I'm repping the Argentina jersey. One way that I saw this employed 4 years ago when we won the World Cup was many times literally a fingernail was beyond the last defender. When the teammate passed the ball to him, just because his fingertips were outside the line, they called it back. They would have won like 5-0, but because of the offside track perfectly employed, it didn't work out. And actually, in the callouts, and we see the second citation by A. Murray 2020, The Science of Team Sports. When it comes to the execution, it requires a lot of teamwork. So it kind of goes on to explain how the team captain must make the call out either with the hand signal or with a voice signal to say to their teammates, hey, move up the line and catch the opposing player offside. And because of that, this technique is very effective at high level pro play. And actually, for moving on to my third point, talking about the risk versus the reward, there are two situations here. Either you get an easy turnover where the ball is yours, or you get a 1v1 with the enemy goalie. And that's the problem. It's because sometimes when your team perfectly employs the offside trap, makes the enemy player stand behind in a violating line, he doesn't get the ball. So when the ball goes to him, the whistle gets blown, you get the ball, you get to start with the ball, you get to slow down the game. But if it doesn't work, if you miss time, your position or your time management, the opposing player then gets a free run 1v1 with the goalie. And actually, according to D. Smith's 2019 book, The Art of Football Defense, that turnovers are one of the greatest ways to employ perfect technique in soccer. because it gives the team a break. It gives the team the ability to rest and to drink water. And actually, for our pre 2024 piece pushing the line and high pressing mechanical matches, the problem of this risk is that when it becomes a 1v1 with the goalie, the player is most likely going to score. So it's not always a good situation. Now, to wrap this up, as we see, the mechanics of the offside trap, once again, to explain clearly, is when you are on your side of the field, but I'm on the enemy side of the field, and you pass the ball to me, even though I'm behind the last defender on the enemy team. That is a violation. It's called, in childish language, cherry picking. When you give me the ball, I need to be in front of the last opposing defensive player. So then I could run by myself all the way and score a goal, or wait for the rest of the team to catch up. So as we see, it's a teamwork effort, it's a trap, but at the same time, it's psychological warfare. For many people, getting called violations after violations, and they have to stop the game, they made an improper pass, it becomes psychological warfare for the enemy team, and they don't want to make passes anymore. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope I explained these rules clearly. Sir, you could have pressed pause like a million seconds ago. Waited an extra 10 seconds, man.
Fíjate, no te lo paré.